Smell my shoe! It's patisserie week this week on Bake Off, so I thought I'd make some Chouxnuts. And if you haven't heard of those, they're basically not straight eclairs, they're round, so they look a bit like a donut. They're really delicious and quite simple to make. I'm waffling now, aren't I? I always do this. So we're going to start off by making a crème pat, which we're then going to mix with chantilly cream for our filling, so that can cool down while we do our choux. I've got some whole milk in this pan, sugar, some plain flour and some corn flour, some eggs. I'm just going to use egg yolks from these. I'm going to just crack them and save the egg whites. So I actually need a little pot for that. So I've got a top tip for you. When I use my, when I crack my eggs, if you want to separate your egg yolk from your egg white, you can do it with the shell, but I sometimes find it pierces the yolk. So I just use my fingers and scoop it like that because your fingers are quite soft. Just scoop it out from the white. And that's the best way to do it in my view. So I've got my egg yolks in there, and to that I'm going to add my caster sugar and the corn flour and plain flour, and I'm just going to whisk these together. I'm going to add some vanilla bean paste to that. You know me and my vanilla bean paste, dash of this, and heat this on the hob until it's just almost boiling. Wrong one. Once it's boiled, pour over your egg mixture, whisking the whole time. Then turn the mixture into the pan and continue cooking, whisking the whole time on the medium heat until it's thickened. Once your crème pat is thickened, pop it into a bowl just to allow it to cool. Where's the cling film? There it is. Place cling film over your crème pat so you don't get a skin forming, because no one likes a skin, do they? A custardy skin. The best thing to do is push the cling film right onto the mixture so there's no air in there. Place that into the fridge to cool while we carry on with the choux. No space in here. It's choux time. Children are going to be really cringy. Butter and water in the pan and add the sugar. I'm just going to bring this to the boil, just under the boil. See it melting away. Do you want to see it melting away? Everything's come to the boil. Tip in the flour all at once and give it some welly. So just mix it all in. See how it's kind of leaving the sides of the pan now? It's all come to one. Just going to cook that off. So that's ready. Pop it into a bowl. Just pop it in. Cool it down for a couple of minutes. My choux paste has cooled down. So I've beaten some eggs. I'm just going to pour this in about a quarter at a time. So you just need to incorporate that completely before the next addition. Nice sound, isn't it? Let's come back to one mix. And repeat. Thank you. Dear Juliet. Thank you. Smell lovely, they do. So when it reaches dropping consistency, which is that, just splats off the spoon, pop into piping bag. I've got a big plastic one, and I've got a large round nozzle in there. That's about a centimetre opening. If you don't have one of those, you can just snip it. Place that in the bag.
Is this your favourite nozzle?
It's not my favourite nozzle, no, Dan. Wilton 104 is my favourite nozzle. Stop laughing. That's all in there. Just going to leave that. I like to leave mine to rest for 5 to 10 minutes before I pipe it, just so it kind of stiffens up a bit. Smell my choux. Smell my choux! So get a baking tray, and what I've done, because I kind of want them to be similar size, I've just drawn around a cookie cutter there, and now I'm just going to pipe my Chouxnuts. So just keep them kind of an even pressure so they stay the same thickness. You want them to be nice and neat. I've piped on my choux, just going to dampen my finger and just push down the tail. We call it a tail in the biz, you know. So I'm going to bake these in the oven now at 200 for about 25 to 30 minutes till they're really nice and crisp. And top tip, I'm going to chuck this water in the bottom of my oven when they first go in, because that's going to give me a bit of steam to really help my choux. So in they go, and we will come back when they are baked. So make your chantilly cream using double cream, splodge of vanilla, a couple of spoonsful of icing sugar, just to give it a little bit of sweetness, not too much. Just take care not to over whip it, otherwise it will just go all kind of grainy. So you want to get it to the stage where it's just under whipped. I think that's about it. Let's just check. Yeah, so that's really, really soft pink. It's very loose, but it's going to thicken up because we're going to add our crème pat. Now add your crème pat into the chantilly cream, just little by little. So I'm just going to stir this in. Give it a little whisk just to finish it off. There we go. I've got another large piping bag, and I've got one of these nifty donut nozzles. It just helps you to really sort of like push the filling into the Chouxnut, but if you don't have one, again, you can just snip the end. Right, get rid of all my mess, and we're ready to stuff our Chouxnuts. Stuff my Chouxnuts. So my Chouxnuts are all baked and ready to stuff. So I'm going to inject my filling into these. Again, like with my nozzle, I can just shove it in. It's very satisfying. Give it a squeeze, and you can feel them getting heavier. Oh, and I can feel it all. I can feel it going around the ring. So I kind of go in from one side and then from the other. There we go. So my Chouxnuts are all stuffed. This is fondant icing sugar, and I'm gonna make mine a really pretty colour. I'm gonna use edible flowers for these. So I just wanna make a nice cream colour. Where's my water? Spoon. Quite a thick consistency, so it doesn't slop everywhere. I want it to be neat. So just go quite slowly with adding the water, because you'll be surprised how it suddenly becomes very liquid. So you were looking for the consistency of like honey, I guess. Just gonna add my colour, a tiny, tiny dab. That's probably plenty. So you can see that's the consistency you're going for. Not too runny. So I'm gonna pop that in a piping bag. I don't need a nozzle for this. I've got something very special there. I'm going to use edible flowers. I love edible flowers. Watch for next year. It's going to be a big trend. Here we go. Look at those beauties. So I'm just going to snip a hole in my bag and pipe away. You might get the odd little bit of drippage, but that's okay as long as it's not going all over the place. There we go, I'm quite happy with that, so it's nice and neat. Just place some flowers on. Perfect, there we have it. The Chouxnuts for Patisserie Week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Everything you need to make these is just down there, and I'll see you soon. Bye. I'm gonna eat one of these Chouxnuts now.